Clint Eastwood, with his image of a strong and indomitable man on screen, has left his mark through a series of classic roles such as the man with no name in A Fistful of Dollars or the character Harry Callahan in Dirty Harry. However, behind the tough exterior, he had to face deep sorrows, the greatest of which were the wounds from personal relationships, especially 2 broken marriages and distances with some of his children, along with losses in life and the pressure of fame. One of Eastwood's greatest pains was the breakup of his 2 marriages to Maggie Johnson, 1953 to 1984, and Dinah Eastwood, 1996 to 2014. The first marriage to Maggie Johnson lasted more than 3 decades, but was overshadowed by rumors of his extramarital affairs, leading to separation and eventual divorce. His second marriage to Dinah Eastwood, a journalist and television personality, was seen as a new beginning, but it ended in heartbreak after 18 years. His divorce from Dinah in 2014, when he was in his 80s, was not only a personal failure, but also brought him public criticism. In a rare interview with The Guardian, 2018, Eastwood once hinted that his failed relationships were his biggest regret in life, as he had always longed for a stable family, but had not been able to achieve it. In addition, Eastwood also suffered from the trauma of complicated relationships with some of his children. As the father of 8 children from multiple relationships, he could not always spend enough time with them all. In particular, his relationship with his eldest daughter, Lori Murray, who was born out of an extramarital affair and was adopted by him many years later, has left him with regrets about not being there for her in her early years. Similarly, with his children Kyle, Scott, and Francesca, he has admitted that his busy work schedule has created gaps that are difficult to fill. In an interview with Esquire, 2016, he shared that the feeling of not being able to accompany his children during important milestones is a simmering pain that he carries with him for the rest of his life. Another sadness is the personal losses he has suffered. Eastwood has witnessed the passing of many loved ones, including his parents and some close friends in the film industry. In addition, he has faced the pressures of fame, especially the controversies related to his political views. A Republican, he has been criticized for controversial statements, such as his speech at the 2012 Republican Convention, which left him feeling misunderstood and isolated. At 95, these sorrows are no longer tidal waves, but rather quiet wounds, ever present in his soul. Clint Eastwood began his acting career in the 1950s, with small roles in films such as Revenge of the Creature, 1955. However, it was his roles in Sergio Leone's Western Trilogy, A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, For a Few Dollars More, 1965, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966, that made him an international star. He later expanded his career as a director, producer, and musician, leaving his mark on a series of classics. Clint Eastwood's career is a series of impressive milestones. As the man with no name in Sergio Leone's trilogy, he redefined the image of the Western cowboy, bringing a cold but profound acting style. The trilogy was not only a commercial success, grossing millions of dollars, but also considered classics of the Western genre. Following that success, he made his mark as Harry Callahan in Dirty Harry, 1971, a role that became a cultural icon, with the widely quoted line, "Go ahead, make my day." As a director, Eastwood affirmed his talent with a series of critically acclaimed films. Unforgiven, 1992, a dark western, won 4 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director, bringing him the highest recognition of his career. Other films, such as $1 Million Baby, 2004, which also won 4 Oscars, Mystic River, 2003, Letters from Iwo Jima, 2006, and American Sniper, 2014, further cemented his status as one of Hollywood's greatest directors. Million Dollar Baby, in particular, was not only an artistic success, but also a touching story of compassion and sacrifice, reflecting Eastwood's profound vision. In addition to acting and directing, Eastwood is also a talented musician, composing the soundtracks for many of his films, such as Gran Torino, 2008, and Changeling, 2008. He is also a successful producer, with his company Malpaso Productions behind most of his projects. His career spans over 7 decades, with more than 70 films as both an actor and director, a rare feat in Hollywood history. Eastwood is also known for his incredible stamina. At 90, he continues to make films, with Cry Macho, 2021, a testament to his relentless work ethic. His ability to remain creative and productive at this age has made him an inspiration to generations of filmmakers. However, Eastwood's career has not always been smooth sailing. One of his biggest failures was early in his career, when he struggled with small roles and lack of recognition. In the 1950s, he was dropped from Universal Pictures because they deemed him lacking potential. This failure led him to take on a variety of odd jobs, from digging swimming pools to working as a lifeguard, to make ends meet. He has said that there were days when he felt completely hopeless and wondered if he should give up his acting dream. Another failure was films that were either commercially successful or critically panned. For example, The Rookie, 1990, an action film he directed and starred in, received negative reviews and failed to attract audiences. Similarly, J. Edgar, 2011, despite starring Leonardo DiCaprio, was criticized for lacking depth and falling short of expectations. These failures put Eastwood under great pressure, especially since he has always held himself to a high standard. Controversy over his political views has also been a significant setback. His speech at the 2012 Republican National Convention, in which he spoke to an empty chair representing President Barack Obama, was widely ridiculed and damaged his image in the eyes of some audiences. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, 2016, he admitted that the incident was a mistake and that he felt misunderstood. The challenges of his career have brought Eastwood to tears on more than one occasion, although he rarely shows emotion in public. One touching story came when he directed Unforgiven. In preparation for the film, he spent years researching Western history, rewriting the script, and working tirelessly to ensure every detail was perfect. When Unforgiven won the Oscar for Best Picture, he cried quietly in his room, feeling that all his hard work had paid off. He once told Variety, 2010, that this moment was one of the few times he allowed himself to be vulnerable in the face of success. To achieve success in his career, Eastwood had to sacrifice a lot. In the early years, he often had to work 18 to 20 hours a day, going from one film set to another, just to make sure he could stay in the industry. There were days when he only slept 2 to 3 hours, living on coffee and perseverance. These efforts exhausted him, but he never thought of giving up. Another story that made him cry was when he directed Letters from Iwo Jima, a film about the perspective of Japanese soldiers during World War II. To ensure authenticity, he spent months researching history, learning basic Japanese, and working with Japanese actors to convey their emotions. During one scene, when he saw actor Ken Watanabe portray the pain of a soldier far from home, Eastwood was moved to tears. He told the New York Times, 2007, that the moment reminded him of the value of art in connecting people. Clint Eastwood is an ambitious man who always sets high goals in both his career and personal life. His achievements are not only about awards or fame, but also about the values he has built over time. One of Eastwood's greatest achievements is that he redefined the Western genre. With the Sergio Leone trilogy and then Unforgiven, he brought a new perspective on the cowboy, combining strength and humanity. Unforgiven not only won 4 Oscars, but was also ranked by the American Film Institute, AFI, as one of the 100 best films of all time. Another achievement is his success as a director. With more than 40 films directed by him, Eastwood has won 4 Oscars, 11 Oscar nominations, and a series of awards from film festivals such as Cannes and Venice. Films such as Million Dollar Baby, Mystic River, and American Sniper were not only commercially successful, but also praised for their depth and humanity. Letters from Iwo Jima in particular is considered a masterpiece because it tells the war story from the enemy's perspective, an approach rarely seen in Hollywood cinema. Eastwood also takes pride in his role in inspiring young filmmakers. Many directors, such as Christopher Nolan and Quentin Tarantino, have expressed their admiration for Eastwood, seeing him as a role model for creativity and perseverance. He also supports new talent through Malpaso Productions, helping them to develop in the industry. Outside of his career, Eastwood has always strived to be a good father, although he admits that he has not always succeeded. He is particularly proud that his children, Kyle, musician, Scott, actor, and Francesca, actress, have pursued their own artistic careers and achieved success. Building a close relationship with his children, despite the hardships of a famous father, is one of his greatest achievements. Eastwood also focuses on maintaining his health and well-being. He regularly exercises, plays golf, and maintains a healthy lifestyle to stay fit. The fact that he is still making films at the age of 95 is an amazing achievement, showing his strong will and hard work. To achieve these achievements, Eastwood had to face many difficulties. He once said that in the early years of his career, he had to tee,